A very good evening to you all, and welcome to A Date with Innocent, programme 311 here on July the 5th. So America is celebrating 250 years of independence, and indeed we are celebrating with them, as for the next 4 weeks on A Date with Innocent we are paying homage to the Great American Songbook, and every piece of music which we play during these 4 weeks will be taken from the Great American Songbook, which, as I've said before, isn't actually a book per se. It is a loose collection of some 1,000 pieces, so quite a lot to choose from. Good evening, Janet, how lovely to see you. Good evening, Portugal. Ooh, 37, that's that's hot. Yeah, we're pretty cool today. I think we're only 31 today. Yeah, so it's been really fun to be thinking about these 4 programmes, and in fact I started thinking about it back in 2025, but it's only sort of grown wings in the past couple of months, so to speak. So yes, indeed, our opening piece of music, as you identified, Hannah, and more, was indeed the Stars and Stripes Forever March by the March King of America, indeed, John Philip Sousa. And he wrote that one in 1896. And I was amazed to find out that he actually wrote it on Christmas Day, which is a relatively interesting fact. Sousa composed over 130 marches, and in fact the Stars and Stripes Forever is now the official march of the United States as of the mid-80s. So later on in that march, that's the one that goes, here we go, here we go, here we go. And I've just played a very small bit of that as our opening music this evening, and it was a bit of the arrangement by the Russian-American pianist Vladimir Horowitz, and he wrote his arrangement, his transcription of Stars and Stripes in the mid-1980s when he officially became a US citizen, and it is full of his trademark great big octaves and chords and things, lots of fun. And quite tricky as well, as I just discovered flying off the keys. Stars and Slops Forever in my version. Anyway, that was our opening music this evening. You will see that we have decorated somewhat in honour of America 250. Believe it or not, those lights you're looking at are flashing red, white and blue, and there will be times this evening when you will see them. When I'm on the other camera, they are reflected better. It's just one of the sadnesses of YouTube, with all the sets of lights I own and have purchased for YouTube. They're never quite the same colour as they are in reality. Never mind. Yeah, in another 250 years time, Hannah. I've only made you wait, what, 5 years for that? A bit of it. Anyway. My tie is also very American. I was looking through my collection of ties and thinking, I wonder if I've got 4 American themed ties for the programmes we have on the 5th, 12th, 19th and 26th. And I was quite surprised. I've got about 8 American themed silk ties. This one is one of my favourites, and it is a sort of mixture of things going on, really. There's a bit of a sort of tribute to the Hindenburg. There's obviously a sort of version of one of the bridges in New York, and indeed I believe a Duesenberg going across. So that's this evening's tie. I knew you'd be fascinated to know that. Anyway, so I've looked through all the lists that I can find. There are so many different lists of what constitutes the Great American Songbook, and as I say, it's about 1,000 songs, and the criteria I have used in selecting the pieces Well, ones that I know, and I think you will know, has been foremost in my mind. But to narrow it down to 24 across the 4 programmes has been quite tricky, but fun to do. So I started to kick in other criteria then, which was what haven't we had for some time. So everything in the next 4 weeks we hadn't had for at least 10 months, in fact in some cases a couple of years. I think you will know them. Until earlier on I was nearly wearing that flag you see on the wall because I had it in the wrong position. It was a bit of a bizarre sight really, actually. There is a top hat later in the show this evening actually, but that's to come. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that you will know all of this evening's songs, or certainly a fair few of them. So do tap along, sing along, whistle along, dance along, or just sit and blob with a cool drink along. And I do hope you enjoy our tribute to the Great American Songbook. Indeed, following on from our opening march, that was Strike Up the Band. Strike Up the Band, as Hannah said. Composed, of course, by the amazing Mr. George Gershwin. So yeah, and that was actually taken from the musical Strike Up the Band, although I am showing you a poster of the film version of Strike Up the Band. As a musical it was not that successful, but a few songs survived it, including that one. So there we go. That was our opening one this evening, and as always, if you want to press the thumbs up button, we'd love to receive your thumbs up. Good evening, Martin, and good evening for a second time today, Jeannie. How lovely to see you. Ah, right. Something a lot calmer. Wow, thank you for that. I'll, Jacques Lussier, wow, amazing. Yeah, indeed, Somewhere or Over the Rainbow, as it's officially titled on the sheet music, but also known as Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And as Hannah said, composed by the wonderful Mr. Harold Arlen. He looks very laid back there, or laid on his side anyway. Doing a little, he's either doing the crossword in the Daily Mirror, or he is composing his latest ditty. And of course, Somewhere Over the Rainbow famously came from a 1939 film, The Wizard of Oz, starring, well, all those people. And we've all seen it, haven't we? And brother, you and I have seen it probably about 400 times, thanks to it being Father's favourite film. Yeah, I think the interesting thing about that song, as very famously sung by 16-year-old Judy Garland, is that it very nearly didn't make it into the film. If you need reminding of where it happens in the film, it happens about 6 minutes actually into the film. And when they showed the first... sorry, we'll have to look at that. Sorry, I'll come back to what my train of thought. Prototype of the... Yes, definitely. The Apple Pencil. Amazing. Yeah, so Somewhere Over the Rainbow in the film happens about 6 minutes into the film, and when they showed it at preview, the producers at MGM thought it was slowing the whole action down and they wanted it cut out, but there were a couple of hissy fits, and it stayed, which is a jolly good thing really, because it's one of the most famous features of that film, along with the whole cast nearly being poisoned by asbestos in the snow falling scene, but there we go. So that was our second one this evening. If you've happened upon this and you are not subscribed to the channel, then do press the subscribe button, and please do subscribe to our channel. I believe we have gained another 2 subscribers during the week, which is always lovely. It is the liking and the commenting and the sharing on which helps our channel to grow. So yeah, here we are on program 311, celebrating 250 years of American independence, with our merry little, and it is a little, tribute to pieces from the Great American Songbook, that loose collection of some 1,000 pieces. And I was looking through all these official lists and sort of comparing them, and it was quite amazing to me what was in the official lists and what wasn't. It's been quite an eye-opener, so to speak. Anyway, our next piece is also famous. We have not had it for some time. Hope you will enjoy. For the last chorus, indeed. Yeah. The one before that was sort of a bit of a bossa going on. All sorts, licorice all over the place. Indeed, as Hannah and later Martin and Jeannie said, it was the Shadow of Your Smile. The Shadow of Your Smile, composed by the amazing Mr. Johnny Mandel. He composed so many film and TV scores. The theme tune to MASH was one of Johnny Mandel's, incidentally. And The Shadow of Your Smile is also known as the love theme to The Sandpiper, which I've not seen as a film, but starring Liz Taylor and Richard Burton. I couldn't possibly begin to tell you whether they were married at the time of that film, but if they weren't married at the time, you can almost guarantee that they had just been married and divorced, or they were about to marry again. Yeah, I know nothing about The Sandpiper at all. Maybe I should find out before quoting it willy-nilly, but it's a great bit of music, The Shadow of Your Smile, and indeed it won an Oscar for best song that year, and the year was 1963. So just a reminder of what we're doing. Obviously we're playing through the Great American Songbook over the next 4 weeks, but also I'm not doing any Friday videos this month. I'm having a month off from recording extra videos, so we've just got the live show going on during July. And also to say that on Sunday the 19th of July I am not around, so it is a recorded show, but still very much within the theme of the Great American Songbook. As in the past few weeks, when we are in the middle of a heat wave, as the programme goes on, it gets hotter and hotter. In here, I would take my jacket off, but I haven't ironed the sleeves on my shirt, so you know it's just not going to happen, is it? Okay, enjoy our next famous song. lots of teas for two. Good evening, Jill and Colin, by the way. Lots of teas for two, and a request from Portugal for some ice cream. We'll send it over straight away. I'll get my brother to whip up a batch and send it off DPD. It will get that. So tea for two, indeed. As Hannah said, composed by Vincent Youmans in 1924. Where are you, Vincent? There he is. And that was composed for the musical No No Nanette. And it's a very interesting song because it is very sparse in terms of its melodic material. Only a few notes that are repeated up and down, and the lyrics by Irving SOUSA are similarly memorable as well. So a very efficient and highly memorable song, T42 1924. So this week, as we came out of June, we had the last of our classic TV comedy theme uploads, which were these. So that brought to the end 2 months of daily uploads, which is partly why I'm having a bit of a rest from uploading new videos at the moment, and we'll put some more up maybe in August. Thank you, Moore. And speaking of Moore, Moore has uploaded one of his grade 8 pieces this week. I need to have a proper listen to it. And speaking of Moore's grade 8, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but young Moore has just done extremely well and passed his grade 8 exam with a very high mark, and considering he has only been learning for less than 3 years, to get to grade 8 is absolutely phenomenal. So well done indeed, sir. Very, very, very good news. Okay, on we go. also from the 1973 musical, A Little Night Music, and that was indeed Cindy MacLane's by the incomparable Stephen Sondheim. And I think I was quite surprised, and that's one of the reasons I played that one, that does officially feature in the lists of the Great American Songbook, because it is relatively late by their own parameters of roughly 1920 through 1960, and that one was 1973. I suspect that if someone says, you know, it's about time we had the Great American Songbook, at least, you know, volume 2 or version 2 of the list, and Stephen Sondheim could probably fill it himself with about 1,000 songs. I think he's composed about 1,200 songs. I was playing some of his songs last night in a concert, and I was just bowled over by the absolute skill he has in composing for voice. So I had great fun playing the piano accompaniments and a concert of those. Yeah, it's been covered by a lot of people, brother. One of the most famous covers was by a lady called Judy Collins, who really put it on the map, because as a musical first time round, A Little Night Music didn't do that well. It's had many, many successful revivals since. Barbara Streisand did indeed do a very famous cover, and you've just allowed me to launch into an anecdote. For her 1985 album, Broadway album, and her very famous cover, she says in the footliner that she wasn't happy, only Barbara Streisand could say this, with Stephen Sondheim's lyric. So she wrote to him, you know, "Dear Stephen, I don't think you've finished the story of this song. Please, can you write another bridge and another verse to this?" And Stephen Sondheim, being the wonderful man that he is, and with the utmost respect for Barbara Streisand, did indeed write another bridge and another verse just for her, and she included it in her cover, in her 1985 version. So there you go. Just before we launch into our final bit of music, somewhat appropriately today, it's National, certainly in America, Apple Turnover Day, July the 5th. What a wonderful way to be celebrating when we are, of course, celebrating all things American this month. So the apple turnover apparently goes all the way back to the 17th century, when a cook had a bit of pastry left over and not enough to make a pie. So she turned it over, basically, over a bit of apple, and there you go. And of course, so many cultures have versions of the turnover, just a means of putting an envelope, if you like, around some ingredients. So other examples of that are the empanada, samosas. They're all the same sort of thing. Hey, I wonder what an apple samosa would be like. Apple samosa, I can imagine that. I can't imagine it enough to, you know, sort of want to try cooking it. Well, certainly not during this weather anyway. We'll come back to that one. Okay, let's launch into our final bit of music this evening before we say goodnight in our usual way. So there's the Top Hat connection from the musical film Top Hat, starring Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. That was indeed. Cheek to Cheek, which doesn't start Heaven, I'm in Heaven. Thank you, brother, for the lyrics. There he is, the wonderful Mr. Irving Berlin, with over 1,500 songs to his credit. I reckon you might be correct on that, brother. What do you think, Hannah? Did you get all 6? I think you did, actually. You swat. So that does bring us to the end of our first of 4 special editions of A Date with a Dinner Set, devoted to entries from the Great American Songbook. I will have a go during the week to see if I can get any more colour out of these very bright blue, red and white lights. They're just white on your screen. Very cheeky, always very cheeky. Cheeky cheek to cheeky ear or something. Do I get a prize? No. It's the simple answer to that. You get a personalised invitation to join us and do it all again next week. Great fun as always. Do have a super week, and if you're staying up to watch the football, then good luck to you. And do stay cool. It's going to be another hot one for the whole week, isn't it? Thank you so much for being with us this evening and for taking part in A Date with a Dinner Set. All the very best, and good night.